Recording, guys. Welcome and thank you once again, guys, for joining this session. Uh, for database topic, yes, we will have like a quick session on SQL part and also like how we do connect our JDBC connections with like SQL database with the Selenium automation script. We are going to see that. And with respect to CI/CD, obviously we are trying to cover source code management as a Git. And other than that, we will be integrating our test framework with open source Jenkins using Jenkins file as well as in the freestyle project. Okay. So for CI/CD part, I would say we will be talking about Jenkins as a continuous integration. Okay. And over here, you can see the detail as well. Okay. So this is like Jenkins and Maven integration with Jenkins and running the Selenium test through Jenkins. Okay. For the CI/CD part. So I hope everyone are clear. Anybody has any additional questions, anything, please share it over the chat window, guys. We'll talk about that in the coming, like once the session is completed, guys. Okay. So moving on, guys. As I mentioned, like we'll talk about the manual testing, right? So just I'll quickly go through because I know like most of you are already aware about the manual testing topic. Okay. So I'll just quickly go a little bit fast for the manual testing concept because any which ways, the reason I'm covering this topic is the prerequisite for starting the automation, guys, is like you need to be very good with the manual testing because whichever application you take, guys, before kind of moving on to the automation, you need to make sure that the manual test cases are working fine. Okay. And you will be able to perform automation testing only once the system or the application under test, that is AUT, is stable, guys. Please remember this. Okay. Unless and until the AUT or application under test is not stable, you will not be able to perform the manual testing. Okay. Clear, everyone? Okay, so let's get started, guys. Um, Let me quickly go through each one of them. What is software? Software is nothing but a collection of computer program which is helping us to perform a particular task. We are having variety of software, guys. Over here, only three are listed, such as system, programming, and application. Okay. As a QA, we are purely working on, you can consider like application software, guys. Okay. Don't be in a confusion that Selenium is responsible for automating your desktop-based application as well. The answer is no. It is not responsible for automating your mobile application also. Please remember that. Okay. It is purely designed for your only one this thing, that is web application. Okay. So we will be able to automate only web applications, the applications which are running over the web browser. That's it. Okay. Next is like what is software testing then? Software testing is an important process of identifying the defect, okay, issues, bugs, and those defects will be obviously part of your software, right? And the objective of software testing is to make sure that the quality product is released to the client. Okay. So when I say quality product, guys, you can consider like various applications which are present right now. Okay. Such as you can consider various apps such as right now, which we are using Zoom. We are having various other applications related to trading, guys. So we have various Upstock, then we have Zerodha, we have all these are actually, you can say, product-based organization, guys. And all these products are already tested, guys. Okay. So those comes under, you can consider like identify the defect for the product and making sure the product which is released in the market is fully tested, guys. Okay. Next is quality. What is quality, guys? Quality is nothing but making sure the product which is being released to the customer is meeting all the requirement of the customer, guys. Okay. Now, over here, if you consider like various example which I mentioned, right? If you consider, yeah, Venkat, please go ahead.
ಇದು ಸಂವత్సರದಿಂದ ఆడినా కూడా తగ్గల
Okay.
తగ్గట్లేదు అనవసరం
Okay. Okay, sorry guys. So quality is nothing but it is defined as the justification to the requirement, customer's requirement basically. And the quality of the software is you can consider like bug free, delivered on time, within budget, meet requirement or expectations, and it should be maintainable. Okay. Then we have like what is the difference between product versus project? Okay. So very important because most of you are a little like might be having this thing um, that I wanted to work for a product based organization. I wanted to work for a project based organization, something like that, right? So what are the major difference, guys? In product or project based, you can consider we will have a single product for your complete end-to-end life cycle, like till the time you're working in that organization. Okay. So you will keep on writing the test cases, test scenarios for only that single product. Obviously, the features will keep on adding, guys. Okay. So that comes under product-based organization. Okay. So anyone wants to share your experience, like what are the different product-based organization? Do you wanted to share some names, guys? Which are the basics organizations which are purely, let's say, product-based organization? Anyone? Or you can share that in the chat window as well. Facebook. Okay. Anyone else? So Oracle is project-based or product-based, guys?
Product based.
Yes, Oracle is product-based. Okay.
I give you.
So guys, ideally, if you consider Oracle as an organization, guys, if it is maintaining single product, then I would suggest I would have like a product base, obviously. But internally, I believe, right, Oracle is handling a lot of other external client as well. Okay. So please, whenever you talk about some organizations such as Oracle, Wipro, Accenture, TCS, L&T, Capgemini, right? All this will be kind of under the umbrella as a service-based organization. Okay. Because what does this product-based means, guys? Product-based means like you can consider a single product of the complete organization. So you guys are aware about Dream 11, okay, which is a kind of you can say cricket fantasy related gaming application, like you need to create your team and everything. So that is something you can consider as a product based organization. We are using Zoom, which is product based organization. We are using Zerodha, we are using Upstock, we are using Angel One. So all this trading platform are also product based organization. Okay. So whenever you work only it's for single product, guys. Okay. So you can consider Flipkart, Amazon. Okay. All these are having single product, right? So if you are purely working for the e-commerce giant, right? So those will be considered as the product based organization. Okay. Clear, everyone? Okay. So guys, please remember, if a software application is developed for specific customer based on requirement, then that is something called as project. And if a software application is developed for multiple customers, then that for, or you can say, market requirement, because Zoom is being used by us also, by you also, by people around the globe, right? So that is coming under product based organization. Okay. Why do we need testing? We need testing to make sure that the application is bug free. It is meeting the customer requirement, and it is meeting the end user expectation, guys. And please remember, why do we need testing? Because fixing the bug at the initial stage, right? If you do the bug fixing at the initial stage, that will be more, you can say, it will not take that much amount of time, and it will not be taking that much expense also, guys. Okay, if you fix the bugs at the later phase, guys, then the bug resolution, this thing will be more expensive, guys. Please remember this. Okay, so that's the reason we usually identify the bug at the early stage. Okay. Next is, what's the difference between error, defect, and failure? So error is something kind of, you can consider like syntax error or incorrect human action, due to which it produces a problem in the system. That is something called as error. Defect is nothing but a deviation from the expected behavior, okay, to the actual behavior. That is called as the uh, uh, and after that we have failure. That is nothing but the deviation identified by the end user. Okay, so that is called as a failure. So why does the software normally has issues? Because due to no communication, or let's say less communication between the team. Then we have the complexity of the software, which is the second reason. We have the programming error, lack of requirement, like requirement is kind of keep on changing, guys. That's what happens in agile, guys. And then lack of skill tester, guys. Okay, so these are the major pointers due to which we usually have the bugs in the software, guys. Okay, so just to kind of move ahead, like before moving to the next part, guys, meanwhile, anybody wants to add anything, guys? If you want to share anything, you want to get anything, please unmute and speak up, guys. If anybody has anything to speak, okay. So everyone are clear about the what is software testing, software quality, product versus project. Why do we need testing, error, defect, nor failure, and why the software has bugs normally? Okay, so I hope everyone are clear. So before moving on to the next part, guys, just I'll give you a brief introduction about myself. I'm Vikas. I do have around 12.6 years of exposure experience into, you can say, automation, as well as um, product, you can say, product owner role as well. So I like worked with almost like all the domains so far with respect to applications, like BFSI, e-commerce, banking, then you can say insurance sector, right? So, and with respect to this, I do have exposures on performance testing using Jmeter as well as K6. K6 is again one of the tools which is built in JS, guys, JavaScript, similar to what we have Cypress. Uh, Other than that, I do have some exposure on security testing using Bobsuit as well as SAP, which are again open source tool. But Bobsuit is coming with some premium, you can say. But both are the tool which are responsible for handling your security testing. So I hope those who have not heard, though, like you might have heard about top 10 OWASP. Okay, so there are total 10 pointers which has been designed by OWASP, which is a community, worldwide community, which is handling those 10 pointers. For those 10 pointers, we are using ZAP as a tool for security testing. Okay. Moving on the next part, guys, let me talk about the next this thing. Okay, because I told, right, I'll quickly go through each and every this thing. So we have something called as SDLC life cycle. Okay. So SDLC lifecycle, you can consider like it's a process which is used by software industry to design, develop, and test the software. So totally, it is actually we are having two cycle. One is software development lifecycle, and other is software testing lifecycle. Okay. So software development lifecycle is the one which you can see right now. We are having total 5 phases: requirement analysis, design, development, testing, and maintenance. Okay. So anybody wants to add anything for what we do in requirement analysis, guys, in the development phase? What we do, guys? Anyone? This is not for testing life cycle, guys. This is software development life cycle. So there is a major difference between software development life cycle and software testing life cycle. Please remember this. So when it comes to development, we are purely talking about like what all things we will consider in this particular sprint. What is the outcome? What is the sprint goal? How we will be kind of analyzing those requirement. Okay, if I give you a requirement saying that we need this button at this particular page or something, right? So the next question from developer will be like, can you provide us the design? Can you provide us the Figma? Can you provide us the blueprint? So you need to have the clear understanding on the requirement part. Okay, so the requirement analysis is very, very important. At the same time, even the testers are actually involved in that discussion, guys. So to make sure that the requirement, whatever is provided, right, the QA team is also like aware about same. Okay, and we will be getting clarity on what will be the actual expectations of the customers. That's correct. Okay, so based on that, we usually start with the actual, you can say, development, which is done by the developer team. Okay, so developer also we will have to this thing bifurcation. One is the front end team and second is the back end team, guys. So if it is design related activity, then usually front end team will look into. If it is, let's say, API, web services, those type of details, like in that scenario, usually backend team will come into picture. Okay, backend team will take that activity and will work on that requirement, guys. Okay, the next phase you can consider is design. Design is something, let's say I gave you the requirement. After that, if someone is asking for the design, it means that the Figma part, or let's say how the UI will be, how the flow will be, right? So those details we need to provide in the design phase. Okay. So design is very, very important, very crucial, because based on this design only, you will accept or reject your, you can say, final when we are coming on fourth phase, the QA team is actually referring to the same design, same Figma, same UI, mock flow which has been designed. Okay, and if the QA team will take the you can say whether we can go with that design, or QA team will raise the defect or issue based on the expected and the actual behavior, guys. Okay, the next phase we can see is development, guys. In development, you can consider the actual development happens. Okay. So when I say actual development, guys, please remember actual development means what? You can consider like the team will start with the coding part using let's say React, using Node.js, using JavaScript, using Ruby on Rail, whatever programming language they are using, they will start with the development approach. Okay. So the development usually happens, and after that, it is kind of once they have unit tested, guys. The unit testing is the activity which is done by the developer team, guys. Okay. So sometime it is also called as component testing. Sometime it is also called as unit testing. Okay, so once they have done the unit testing in this particular phase, in the same phase, after that, the complete module will kind of move on to the QA testing team. So over here, our actual process starts, that is software testing life cycle. Software testing life cycle. Please remember this. Okay. So software testing life cycle is a phase wherein we will consider all the activities, such as, again, we will try to create our test scenarios. We will have test cases. We will also have requirement analysis, guys, inside our QA phase as well. Okay. Then we will try to create end-to-end, you can say, regression, smoke, sanity type of test cases. And then we will do the actual testing in this particular module. Okay. And then we will have the whether we can kind of move to the next environment, or we need to reject, or we need to raise the issue in the fourth phase only. And the last phase we have is, guys, is the maintenance. Okay. So what is maintenance? Basically, maintenance is something like whatever, let's say, activity is ongoing, right? We need to have the maintenance for same. So what does this maintenance basically means? Like there will be release, there will be some ongoing activity, guys. There will be upgrade. So we need to make sure that the previous version is working fine. We need to make sure that the previous functionality, whatever was present in the application, those are not throwing error. So those type of activity you can consider will come under maintenance phase, guys. Okay. So this is the overall structure, like overall, like you can say high level picture about software development life cycle, guys, the SDLC, which is being used right now also. Even if we have migrated our complete workflow into agile methodology, then also this is being followed, guys. Okay. This is waterfall model, very very important. It was being used previously. Now I mean everyone has migrated your methodology to agile, guys. Okay. So over here we have the same thing what we discussed. The only thing over here is extra, that is deployment process. Because what happens in deployment process, usually we are having multiple environment, guys. Okay. So we need to make sure that you are deploying the code from from one environment to another in a CI/CD, or let's say in a by using the help of DevOps. Usually the DevOps team is responsible for creating the environment and making sure that the code is updated with the. Okay, so DevOps will do one-time activity, guys. After that, actually, the the front end and the back end team is responsible to make sure that the code which is present over QA and the code which is present over stage, or the code which is present over development, all the code actually is same, guys. Okay, so that's the, you can say, responsibility of front end and the back end developer, guys. Okay. So this is the waterfall model which was used like around 7 to 8 years. I mean, not now. Now it is almost like depreciated. Even some of the organization are still using it. I'm not saying it has been completely wiped out. Okay. There are some advantages and disadvantages which you need to consider. Okay. In waterfall model, guys, you can consider that the quality of the product which is being released, right, it will be very good. And the requirement changes are not allowed. Okay, so once you have fixed that this is the requirement, uh, but and if you, let's say, 1 week has been passed and now the client is saying that no, I wanted to change this or modify this, so that is not allowed in the waterfall, guys. Okay. Next is initial investment is less, guys. Okay, since the testers are hired at the later stage. In the waterfall model, when the QA actually starts, that time only QA are involved in the project, guys. Okay, it's not like the QA team is involved during the requirement analysis as well. No, that's not the case. It is usually preferred for the small project where requirement are freeze. Okay. Now, what are the disadvantage? Disadvantage, requirement changes are not allowed. Okay, which is allowed in agile methodology. If there is a defect in the requirement itself, then it will be kind of continuing in the later phase also, guys. If there is a defect in requirement, that will be continued in the later phase also. Okay. The total investment is more because it is actually time consuming, guys. Because here what happens is like the initial stage only you will have the high clarity on the development part. So if you consider, if you got a defect or something at the later phase, then it is time consuming, and even it is having some costing involved is very high, guys. Okay. And here you can see that the testing will only start after the coding part. So that's what it is, the drawback of waterfall model. This will not happen in our agile methodology. The next is spiral model, guys. You can consider this into your mobile application. You after every 15 days or let's say 1 month, you get an update, right? So that is nothing but a spiral model. So it's an iterative model. It's overcome the drawback of waterfall model. It's a small waterfall basically. Okay. So every cycle you can consider as an individual waterfall model. So how this is being done is like you have release 1.5. After that, you will have 1.5.1. After that, 1.5.2 and so on. So that is nothing but you can consider as a spiral model. So software will be not released at single go. Usually what they do is they usually release in a multiple versions. Okay. So that's the reason this particular model is also called as version control model. Okay. So over here, you all can see that we have prototype. You can consider blueprint. We have requirement analysis. We have customer evaluation and even the development and testing. And this keeps on happening, guys. Okay. Every 15 days, every 20 days, you will be kind of doing the same testing again. Okay. So that is something comes under spiral model, guys. The advantage is you can consider testing is done multiple times in each and every cycle. Customer will get the use of the software for every module, guys. Okay. So requirement changes are not like you can consider over here. Requirement changes are allowed, uh, but you can see that after every cycle before going to the next cycle. So once the cycle is completed, after that you can update or provide some changes in the requirement. So those changes will be updated and you will see those changes in the next version. Disadvantage over here is requirement changes within the cycle is not allowed. Okay. Every cycle of spiral model looks like waterfall only. There is no testing in the requirement and design phase, guys. Anybody has any doubt, any query, any questions? Perfect. So I hope everyone are clear for the spiral model as well. Moving on to the next is like verifications and validation model, which is coming under V model, guys. V models, you can see that we are having total on the left hand side as well, on the right hand side as well. Okay. So verification is like 1 bar and second is the validation. Okay. So what we usually do in verification, you can see that we are having low level design, high level design, SRS, BRS. Okay. So those are coming under review. And on the right hand side, you are having unit testing, integration testing, system testing, user acceptance testing. Okay, on the right hand side. Okay. So these are nothing but the validation and these are nothing but the verification. So I want you guys to kind of explain me what is verification, guys? What is verification? Anybody? You can unmute and speak up, guys. What is verification? Anyone? On the left hand side, you can see LLD, HLD, and all those things, right? So anyone wants to add anything by looking at this? So over here, guys, verification is very simple. You can see on the left hand side, you have the documentations. So low level design, high level design, system requirement specification. So verification is more of, you can consider like documentation oriented. Okay. So you will have a lot of documentations basically. Okay. So that is something coming under verification part. Okay. So you can say low level design, high level design, system requirement specification, customer requirement specification, unit. So all these are the documentations. Okay. And this documentation, anybody can tell me who is preparing this documentation, guys? Who is the one who is responsible for preparing this? Uh, anyone? So usually, guys, yeah, go ahead, please.
The customer itself is preparing the documents, right?
Customer will provide you the detail actually. The documentation preparation is little bit technical. Okay, so previously we were having one position you might have heard about, that is called as business analyst, right? So business analyst is something who is like taking the ownership of gathering the requirement from customer and trying to convert them into actual proper documentation style, right? So he will add those into our Word doc or PDF file, right? And this documentation, guys, sometime it is 60 pages, 50 pages, 100 pages. That depends upon the project complexity actually. Okay. So even right now, you can consider like we have two major part of agile team, guys, two major component. One is I hope you are aware, that is Scrum Master, right? And the second one is product owner, correct? So usually some of in majority of the cases you will see that the Scrum Master and the product owner both are like the same like same unit, actually same one who is kind of handling your project, right? So what happens right now, we get this documentations at the initial phase only, guys. It's a one time activity because these documentations will remain intact throughout your project life cycle. Okay, now on the right hand side, guys, you can see that we are having validation. So each and every document, by referring them, what we do, we try to create our integration test cases, we try to create our system test cases, we try to create our unit test cases. Okay, and that's how we usually generate. Okay, so on the validation side, we actually validate the test case. On the verification side, we actually, you can consider, works on the documentation part. Okay, so verification is more of documentation and validation is more of actually doing the testing, guys. So which one is done first, guys? Anybody?
Coding.
Coding, so on the right, validation is done first, you mean?
Unit testing will be done first.
So first we'll work on the documentation work, right? I mean, whether those documentations are correct or not. Because if the documentations are incorrect, guys, okay, we will face issue and the testing which we will do is not the correct one. So please remember, verification comes first, validations comes second. Okay, so verification why comes first? Because you get the project requirement, you create all these documentations, like not you, the teams create this documentations, we refer this documentation, and once everyone are, let's say, agreeing to the same doc or something, it is being reviewed by multiple team, and then we kind of start with the test case creation, guys. Okay, so verification and validations, once it is completed, right, you can consider like yeah, the complete testing is done, which is like total 4 phases you can see, guys, over here: unit testing, integration testing, system testing, and user acceptance testing. Over here we have two major component. One is like you can consider um, white box testing, and second is black box testing. Okay, so this is the two testing methodology basically. Okay, so integration testing is considered as unit testing, and sorry, black box testing is considered as UAT as well as system testing, and white box testing is something like integration testing and unit testing. Okay, now usually what is white box, what is black box, we will see in detail, guys. Okay, don't worry. But when it comes to system testing, guys, please remember that we are having multiple different type of testing involved in ST, system testing. Okay, so multiple different types we will discuss in in the coming session. Okay, next is, guys, what are the advantage over here? If you notice, the testing is involved in each and every phase, the documentation is more, initial investment is more, guys. Okay, now what is verification versus validation? Verification is a process of checking whether we are building the right product or not. Validation checks whether the we are building the product right or not. Okay, so verification focuses on documentation. Verification involved review, walkthrough, and inspection, guys. What is review, what is walkthrough, what is inspection? We'll talk about this in detail, guys. Okay. and validations checks whether we are building the right product right. Okay, so take place after verifications are completed, focused on the software. Validation typically involved actual testing, guys. Okay, so when I say actual testing, actual unit testing, actual integration testing, system testing, and UAT testing. Okay, so verification and validation happens hand in hand, guys. Next is static as well as dynamic testing. Static, you can see like over here, you have review, walkthrough, and inspection. So what does this process means basically, guys? Okay, whenever we work on any this thing, right? You usually create a code or create a script. After creations of script, what you do, you provide that particular script for the review process, guys. Okay, so you will give it to someone to review it. So that approach comes under static testing. You create something. Now once you have created, after that you will provide it for the review part. Okay, that is something which is coming under static testing. Okay, the next is dynamic testing. Dynamic testing is an approach to test the actual software by giving input and observing result. Okay, so here what you will do, you will actually test the actual software by providing the input and observing the result. Okay, so you will provide some input, after that there will be some changes. So that is something like dynamic test data, whatever you are providing, and you will check what happens when you pass numeric value, what happens when you pass alphabets. All those scenarios comes under dynamic testing. Okay, everyone are clear, guys? Anybody have anything to ask before I move to the next part, guys?
No.
Okay, perfect. So let's move to the next part, guys. Let me quickly demonstrate the session 3. Uh, as I mentioned, within like around maximum, you can consider, let me, maximum 3, I would say it will take around 2.5 or 3 days, guys. Okay, within that we will be able to complete our manual testing content. Okay, because there is obviously a lot of things are there, but ideally we'll talk on the important aspect, uh, whatever is required from the manual testing side, guys. Okay, so next is, guys, we have something which I told you that we need to discuss in detail about review, walkthrough, and inspection. So I'll give you high level insight about this, guys. So review, walkthrough, and inspection is something like you created something and you are trying to have that particular code to be reviewed with your higher this thing. Okay, like your senior people. Same is the case of walkthrough as well as inspection. So review, it can be done for all the this thing. It can be done for requirement, design, code, test plan, as well as test cases. Okay. So review is done for all this documentation work. Okay. So once you have created the doc, you are 100% sure that it is accurate. So before that, guys, I would request everyone, I mean, just at high level, you need to provide that document for the review part. Okay. Next is walkthrough, guys. Walkthrough is something like informal approach wherein I am sitting next to you all and saying that, hey, this code you have not done correct or something like that. So those type of discussions happens in the informal review. Okay. It is not planned. It can be done whenever it is required. And also please remember, walkthrough does not have minutes of meet. Okay, so there are no other additional documentation. There is no minutes of meeting. Nobody will discuss. Nobody will share the details what is being shared. So your discussion happened. You need to implement that at the same time. That's it. Okay, that's the walkthrough. Next is inspection, guys. In inspection, we have a proper team of 4 people, 5 people, 7 people, out of which some are moderators, some are, you can say, reader, writer, right? So wherein there will be a proper team, proper schedule activity, and all the team member of agile team, they will be kind of notified that we will be having the inspections of the project at so and so date and so time, guys. So before that, the team should be ready with all the deliverables, all the documentations, all the necessary Jira activity, whatever is required. So that comes under inspection, guys. Okay, because in inspection, it's a formal approach. You will get the detailed mail after once the inspection is done. You will get the notification what all factors you need to improve and all those things, guys. Please remember. Okay. And here, like the complete team will be responsible and the complete team needs to take the ownership, whatever is wrong, guys. Okay. Next is QA versus QC. QC, very simple approach, guys. QA as well as QC has two things. Both look similar, but obviously the approach are different. When it comes to QA and QC, guys, please remember, QA is kind of more of process related stuff. QC is the actual testing of the software. QA focuses on. So when it comes to testing, guys, can anybody tell me, are we working in quality assurance or are we working in quality control, guys? Anybody?
Quality assurance.
Quality assurance. Okay. Anyone else? Anyone else?
I think both.
Uh,
We are following the process as well. We are doing the testing as well.
Perfect. So ideally, the percentage might differ, guys. You are working, let's say 30% in prevention and let's say 70% in detection, correct? So the percentage might differ, guys, from project to project. Okay, that depends upon your project complexity, guys. Okay. So ideally, the answer is you are working on both actually. Okay, because unless and until you will not detect the defect, right? So there is no point of QA, right? So quality control, it is little bit on the higher side compared to quality assurance. Okay. Quality assurance you can consider is more of, you can say, documentation, right? Wherein you will have all the necessary, you can say, test cases creation, test scenario creations, requirement traceability creations. So all this happens in which phase, guys? Quality assurance phase. Okay, wherein you are making sure that we have taken the preventive measure before starting the actual testing. Okay, so that is quality assurance. Quality control means you will identify the defect. Okay, you will identify the issues. The identification can be via automation test cases, via manual test cases, anything, guys. But the approach will be quality control. You will raise the issues in Jira or any of the bug tracking tool, guys. Okay. So quality control, you can say it's for testing part. It's a product oriented. It's a detecting defect, and it's focused mostly on the quality, testing the quality, guys. Okay. Testing methodology, as I mentioned, we are having white box, black box, as well as gray box. Very simple. White box means like you will be able to see what is being written inside the box, right? You are able to see that. Black box is obviously, it is completely black. We will not be able to see that. So guys, please remember, if those who are saying that I am white box tester, right? So those people will require some programming skill set as well. They need to go through some of the programming flow and make sure that it is working fine. Okay. Next is black box, basically system testing and UAT testing. So here we have the test case input and here we have the test case output. So that is coming under black box testing. Okay, so black box is more of like testing conducts on functionality of the application, whether it's working according to customer requirement or not. Okay, so that comes under black box. Now a combination of both white and black comes under gray. Usually the database activity wherein we write the SQL script, right? So those comes under, you can consider it as gray box testing. Okay, so this is the level of software testing that we have discussed in the verification and validation, guys. Unit, integration, system, and UAT. Unit and integrations comes under white box. System and UAT comes under black box, guys. Okay, so here is the you can say component, like what we usually do. Acceptance test, we test the final system. System test, we test the integrated system. Integration test, we test the component group, and unit test, we test the individual component. Okay, so we have this unit testing, guys. Okay, in unit testing, actually we do a single component or module. So these are the different types of testing. And please remember, guys, usually unit testing is done by the developer, because developer will have the complete knowledge on what code has been written, and it's coming under white box technique, guys. Okay, white box testing technique. Next is unit testing component. Okay, so this is how we do at the developer level is this, and at the UI level is this, right? Integration testing is focusing on like whether we are integrating 2 or 3 modules, right? So at that time, we usually talk about integration testing. So here is the example. If you want to go to deleted mails, right? What you will do? You will first log in. After that, you will go to mailbox. After that, you will do the delete actions. Okay. That's how the sequence will be. So these 3 modules are related to each other. But if you want to go to deleted mail, you will not directly log in and go to deleted mail, guys. Okay. The mandatory action, if you want to go to module 3, is you need to go via module 2 only. So that comes under integration testing. Whether on logging, you are able to see the home page or mailbox, right? From that, you will select one of the folder or from the left hand side called as deleted mail. If you log in, if you are able to see deleted mail, that means there is an issue, guys. It's not the correct approach. Okay. So please remember this concept this type of validation comes under integration testing.
Who will do this testing? I mean, integration testing?
QA team.
Developers? Okay.
No,
Okay.
developers are responsible only for unit testing. Okay.
Okay.
So that whatever is there, right? All 3 types of testing is the QA team.
Okay.
Perfect. Next is we have few approaches, guys, incremental, non-incremental. And in incremental also, we are having 2 approaches like bottom up, top down approaches, like whether you are starting with module 1, then moving to module 2, and then module 3, something like that. We have bottom up, module 3, module 2, and module 1, something like that. So incremental approach means like you are adding the modules and testing the data between the modules like flow, guys. Okay. That's what we discuss over here, right? When you wanted to do a login, guys, you need to enter the credential and click on login button. After that, the mailbox will open. On the left-hand section of your mailbox, you will see one folder called as deleted mail. For deleted mail, guys, you need to click on that folder, right? Then only you will jump onto all the mails which are coming under a folder called as deleted mail. And after that, whatever action you want to do, you want to delete this mail forever or something. So you have that option as well at the top, right? So that's how we usually generate our test cases also. Over here, what does this means is like bottom up and top down, guys. You start with module 1 testing, then module 2 and 3, then module 4, 5, 6. Okay, that is something called as top down. Okay, so top down approach is this one, wherein you are trying to make sure that modules are properly tested, guys. When it comes to bottom up, guys, what you do is you do the testing of child first, then parents, and then grandparents, guys. Okay, depending upon the project complexity, project requirement, we usually choose one of them, guys. Okay, please remember. Okay. Next is incremental sandwich approach. Basically, like it's a combination of both. That is whatever we have seen, bottom up and top down. So here we don't have any approach. We directly start with the any type of module testing. We can start with module 1 also. At the same time, we can start with the module 7 or 8 also. So those type of approach comes under sandwich approach, guys. Non-incremental, guys, big bang testing. So big bang testing is something which is you can say there is no such you can consider any documentation, nothing is present. You are the one who is trying to do the testing at the single shot. The documentation is missing. Everything is not properly set up. So what will happens is we usually do I'll give you the application and you start testing. That is what you can consider big bang testing. I'll give you the URL, right? And once I give you the URL, you start actually validating things, correct? So that scenario or that type of testing comes under non-incremental integration testing, guys. Okay. So the drawback over here is we might miss a data flow between some of the module. If you find any defect, we can't understand the root cause of defect. Okay. So the drawback over here is we might miss data flow between some of the module, because here you are doing testing ad hoc, guys. Ad hoc means you are trying to do testing one by one, all those things, right? So that comes under, you can say, non-incremental integration testing. Okay. The next is system testing. System testing, please remember, very, very important. Because in system testing, it is divided, there is segregation, guys. So here you can see that system testing focuses on 4 major aspects. That is UI testing, functional testing, non-functional testing, and usability testing. So testing overall functionality of the applications comes under system testing, and it's a black box testing technique, guys. Okay. So before concluding the system testing, you need to conclude all these major types of testing. Then only you will say that the system testing is completed. Okay. And the last we have, this is UAT, guys. UAT you can consider is like user acceptance testing, which is alpha, beta. Alpha is at the our level, like our UAT tester, and beta is at the client side UAT tester. So we have the QA team even at the client side. Those tester you can consider, let's say, the UAT tester. So obviously, guys, please remember, you should not get issue in the alpha testing as well as beta testing. The issue count should be minimal. Okay, please remember this. Because you have done the testing, you have provided the sign off, everything, and then only the code has migrated to the UAT phase. Okay, so that's how it's usually the approach is. Okay, so I think I'll stop here, guys. Today, I think we discussed total 3 sessions with respect to manual testing, guys. Anybody has anything to add, or let's say ask, please feel free to kind of ask your doubts, guys.
I have a question. Like, this is mainly on the manual side. So, do you have any demo session for automation as well?
So the thing is, it will be like as I mentioned, right? Once we are completed with the manual testing topic, right, we'll move on to the automation side. Automation side, I will not say that we'll directly jump onto Selenium. We'll jump onto Java as a PL programming language.
So, we
So
have demo for that as well.
I will say like this will go now sequentially, like session 1, session 2, session 3. So you can consider like third session to be kind of more into Java related topics. Okay. Because when it comes to Java, guys, don't worry, because I will be doing all the activity over Eclipse. Okay. It will be purely like practical oriented. Okay. So all the test cases, everything, whatever topics we are going to cover, right? It will be inside each and every packages. Okay. So whatever topics we are covering, not only this. So if we are talking about test ng, if we are talking about UI elements, everything. So all this will be covered one after other. So over here you can see under SRC, we will have like folder structure to be created. What are basic things which we will do. So these are all the Java related topics. Okay. So once we are completing the Java part, then I will move to Selenium with Java. Okay, please remember. So these are some of the, you can say, Java file, which is of the previous batch actually. I'm just showing at high level. Okay. And once it is completed, obviously we'll move to the Selenium with Java.
And do we get any certificate after course completion?
Yes,
Okay.
you do. Okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you, Pooja. Anybody else? Any query? Any doubt, guys?
Hello, sir. I have a question about integration testing.
Yes, Sabita, go ahead, please.
So if we are asked in interview, like give an example of integration testing you have done.
Mhm.
So how
So
do you explain it, like in terms of writing test cases?
in terms of writing test cases wherein there are 3 or 4 modules involved, right? If you're doing the end-to-end flow, okay. So just at high level, I'm trying to give an example. So let's say if I want to buy any product from any e-commerce website, right? So what we do is we do a login flow first. Once you do a login, correct? After that, you will move to a, you can say, product page or product listing page or product detail page. Okay. And after that, you will do add to cart, you will make a payment. Okay. So all these are unit test cases actually. So when you want to buy, you will go to monitor. Okay. After monitor, what you will do, you will go to this particular monitor, right? So this is called as product detail page. After that, you will click on add to cart. Okay. After that, you will move on to this particular section wherein you will go to checkout. Okay. So over here, you can see you can go to checkout. Okay. And then you need to enter all this detail and perform the confirm order. So this comes under end-to-end flow for integration testing. Please remember.
So we
And
don't have to have like a separate test cases for integration testing. So if end-to-end successful, so
if
integration is
every
also
test
done.
case you are already writing, that test case itself is considered as like coming under integration testing type only.
Thank you. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Abhita. Anybody else facing any? Will you provide the video? Okay, so the thing is, just wanted to add up over here, guys. We will have the recording of each and every session which is being done. Okay. From the start, and with respect to documentations and all the notes, everything will be uploaded over the drive location, or let's say over a common place where you will get the link. Okay. You can refer them at any point of time. And with respect to the code also, whatever we will be practicing, those code also will be uploaded over the Git repo, so that on the daily basis, whatever changes happened over the repo, you can check those, what file has been added, what notes, what topics has been covered today, and everything with the commit message. So in the commit message, you will see the detail, what topic has been completed, guys. And recorded session will be one day later, guys. Okay, so it will, like today, if there is a session, by afternoon you will get the recording like around 1 o'clock or 1 p.m. IST. So you can refer them later on whenever you want to. Okay. So yeah, the recorded session will be provided, the notes will be provided, the framework which we are going to do the practical part, right? The practical oriented thing, that also will be uploaded over the repo, guys. Perfect. And you will be getting the course completion certificate after the completion of the course, guys.
After course completion, any interview guidance there?
Yeah, interview guidance throughout our session will be kind of having that. Okay. Like whenever what type of different interview questions is being asked, what to answer throughout our sessions. Like it's not like from because from Java, I will be talking about that as well. What are the different questions usually asked in interview when it comes to Java related topics? Okay. So we'll talk about, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. So I think we are good. Let me stop the recording.